for them. So I'm going to start by reading from a book, just a quick 2-page about growth mindset that I read actually this in my morning work that I was doing today. And then we'll dig into some educational stuff on helping them to build habits. All right. So character, and this book is Business Made Simple. All right. 60 days to master leadership, sales, marketing, execution, management, personal productivity, and more. Day 10, character, have a growth mindset. It says, a value-driven professional has a growth mindset. In her book, Mindset, Stanford professor Carol Dweck wrote about 2 mindsets that, to a large degree, predict the success or failure of an individual or team. The first is a fixed mindset. Those who have a fixed mindset believe their character traits and abilities are largely unchangeable, that they are who they are, and they are not capable of evolving into a better version of themselves. People with a fixed mindset document their intelligence and abilities, but do not believe they can improve on either. Because those with fixed mindset believe they were born with a fixed level of intelligence, they have a fear of sounding dumb in front of others. They do not believe they can learn anything new, and so become defensive when they are criticized or when they fail. Why do they become defensive? Because they do not believe they can learn to do better. The second mindset Dweck revealed is a growth mindset. Dweck found that people with a growth mindset believed their brains were adaptable and could get smarter. They were more willing to embrace challenges and did not see failure as a condemnation of their identity. In her research with students, Dweck found those with a growth mindset sought to improve after performing poorly on a test, while those with a fixed mindset gave up. Students with a growth mindset improved and earned better grades, while those with a fixed mindset did not. Those with a growth mindset enrolled in more advanced classes, while students with a fixed mindset were left behind. You can easily see where all this is going. Those with a growth mindset are rewarded by being given greater levels of responsibility, experiencing greater performance, and receiving better compensation. The good news is transforming from a fixed to a growth mindset is possible. To transform from a fixed mindset to a growth mindset, Dweck recommends seeing the world differently in 5 distinct categories. Okay, this is why this is important, and I'm going to dig into it more after this, but from a coaching perspective, I want us to be thinking about these things. All right, 5 distinct categories. Challenges. We must embrace challenges rather than avoid them, i.e. playing against stronger competition. Obstacles. We must persist through obstacles rather than giving up, i.e. stop trying when you're losing in the flow of a game. Efforts. We must see effort as a path to mastery rather than a fruitless endeavor. Criticism. We must learn from criticism rather than ignoring useful feedback. Success of others. We must be inspired by the success of others rather than feeling threatened. In short, having a growth mindset is about understanding that we will never reach the top of the mountain, but we can keep climbing so the view gets better and better. The transition from fixed to growth mindset takes us from believing I have arrived to I am getting better, and from I am great to I am constantly learning and improving. Even believing you have a fixed mindset and cannot learn, to have a growth mindset is a self-fulfilling prophecy. Do you have a growth mindset? So when I think about the transformation that we want to have in our players, I think more and more about mindset change. And our responsibility as coaches is to explain to them, teach them, identify opportunities for them to change their identity in those moments, right? And so success through identity transformation. So what I have here is, this is all from James Clear's book, Atomic Habits. Most of you know that's one of my favorite books. AJ, I think, has my copy right now. I've offered it to 25 to 30 different people and suggested that they read it. If you have not read it, I strongly suggest that you do read it. in his book, he talks about the 3 layers of behavioral change, right? So outcomes is one area, and outcomes are about what we get. Outcome-based is that what you want to achieve, right? Process-based is about what you do in order to change. And then identity-based is about what you believe or who you are becoming. So to be specific, right? If outcome-based, what you want to achieve, I want to be able to do 25 push-ups, right? Process is, okay, I'm going to do 5 push-ups every single day. And then when I feel strong enough to do the 6th, I'm going to do the 6th and the 7th and 8th and 9th and 10th until I get to 25. Identity change is I'm someone that can do 25 push-ups, right? I'm someone, for me, I'll give a specific example. Yesterday was 5K day, right? And Johnny Murray and Gage and Morgan and a bunch of us have been challenging each other to run a 5K once a week. My day is Tuesday. Yesterday at 7 a.m., it was raining, right? I have identified myself as someone who is self-disciplined. Because of that, I would not let myself not do that run. It didn't matter if it was raining or snowing or anything else, right? That is that identity change, okay? And when we think about the recipe for sustained success, right? Decide the type of person that you want to be and then prove it to yourself with the small wins. The small wins are what we need to continue to think about with our players and need to continue to think about with coaching our players to help move them to the next level, okay? So how do we go about teaching it, right? This is something that's really important. So what you can see here is the 3 steps in habit formation. You've got the reminder, the routine, and the reward. First and foremost, we need to help our players identify who they want to become, right? That becomes number 1. Oftentimes, what we do in those conversations, and for any of you guys that are gonna have your one-on-ones coming up, this is often where I go in those conversations with my players. Because once they identify what they want to become, then it becomes a lot easier for us to hold them accountable to that standard. Kind of like on a team setting, right? If my team setting says, my team identifies, okay, at the beginning of the season, we want to be known as hardworking. Well, if the team agrees that they want to be known as a hardworking team, every time that they're doing something that's not hardworking, I can identify that and say, hey guys, it's true that in our preseason meeting, we've said that we want to be known as a hardworking team, correct? They all shake their heads, yes. Would you guys say that the way that you are training right now is at a level that could be considered hardworking? Would you guys say that the way that you are pressing in defense is considered hardworking? Whatever the action is that translates to who they've said they want it to be, then I'm passing that back over to them, okay? So first and foremost, you guys should be thinking about and identifying with your players who they want to become as a person, but also as an athlete, right? Do they want to become a starter? Do they want to become the energy on the team? Do they want to become a very, diligent defender? What do they want to become? And then you need to be thinking about how you can help them from that, okay? So reminder, routine, reward. So if I'm thinking about my habits, right, I want to have a cue, something that's really, really simple. So let's say, for instance, flossing, okay? My dentist says, Zach, you need to floss every single day. All right, great. If I don't leave the flosser out on the countertop near my toothbrush, am I going to be more likely or less likely to floss? Less likely. So cue, make it obvious. I leave the flossers out on the table on the sink next to my toothbrush, right? Make it attractive. Well, think about what you can do to make the success, right? I think about, okay, now my teeth aren't going to hurt when I eat all of the candy that I do. Like right now, when I have a box of Starbursts in my office, right? Starburst jelly beans. And so, okay, what is flossing going to do to help? Responsive, make it easy. Flosser's right there. I know, okay, I brush my teeth, I floss. And then a reward, understanding what that looks like, right? And so in the habit formation, we want to be thinking about what habits they want, and we want to be educating them on how they can start to transform their habits. All right. The thing that's really important about the habits is they go both directions, both positively and negatively. Let's say, for instance, that run. Last Tuesday, I did not run my 5K. It was snowing. My wife had gotten a concussion from falling on the road on the Sunday prior to that, and I was quite nervous, right? I did not run. Part of the reason that I ran yesterday in the rain is because I recognize if I don't run 2 times in a row, I'm creating a new habit. I'm creating a habit that says I don't run. I don't fight my brain when it's hard. So each time, both positively and negatively, we have something that is recurring in our life. We are teaching ourselves one way or the other. And so when you're explaining this, when you're thinking about this, because again, all of this I think translates into everything that we're doing on a daily basis. That is something that we want to recognize. As soon as we recognize that, it's easier to fight our brain, okay? Another thing that's really important about these habits is that they make up 40% of your day, at least 40% of the things that you do on a daily basis are habit. And so if we can be more specific with what we're doing and how we're going about building them, then we can preemptively put ourselves in better spaces to be more successful to get us to where we want to go. All right. So that becomes extremely important. Again, reminder, the reminder is the trigger that initiates the behavior. The routine is the behavior itself or the action that you're taking. And then the reward is the benefit that you get from doing the behavior. Okay, again, so in this graph that you guys can see, if I am to translate this to our teams, when we struggle to do the work, the inner dialogue that is going on is a fight between 2 people. It's a fight between your current self and your future self. Your current self is doing the work that your future self gets rewarded for. And this is the struggle. Your current self is like, no, for me, I want to sit on the couch with a bag of potato chips. Your future self is going to get the reward of your current self saying, I'm not going to sit on the couch, I'm going to go to the gym. Or your future self is going to get the reward of being able to juggle 500 times when your future self is going to have to put in the work to get the ball and do the juggles. What happens is the procrastination sets us up until it hits a breaking point. At that breaking point, that's when the action takes hold, right? And so if we can understand that fight, we're going to reward our future self by doing the things today. And again, build the habits based upon the success that our future self wants to have, okay? Again, going back to it, right? Friction is bad. This is what I'll add to this. When you think about the habit formation, reminder, routine, reward. If I'm going to the gym at 5:30 in the morning, well, what are some excuses that I can be making? That's the friction. How do I go about reducing said friction to get myself out of bed, to get myself to do the things that I want to do that my future self is going to be rewarded for? Once I've done that enough times, then it becomes harder to say no or harder to say yes to staying in bed because I've seen the rewards from my actions, the amount of times that I've done the things that I've wanted to do, okay? Again, here's another kind of graph for us to be thinking about inside of those habits, right? So if I think about where I want to get to versus where I am today, the 25 push-ups, for instance, if my goal is 25 push-ups and my starting spot is 20 push-ups, the amount of repetitions that I need to do of 20 push-ups to get to 25 push-ups is relatively small. And every time I'm going up that slope, it's getting a little bit steeper. So if we were to talk about our teams right now, our teams, Vale's teams over the last 3 years and where we were to where we are today,